Welcome to Streams of Income, hosted by best-selling author and entrepreneur Dr. David Powers, where we discuss streams of income, passive income, residual income, and even why there are dinosaurs and zombies in this intro. Fasten your seatbelts and get ready to dive in.
Welcome to the Streams of Income podcast. We are here with Mr. Mark Foster, and this is another coffee talk in conjunction with one of my other streams, The Coffee Scholar. And so you may be seeing this anywhere on different channels. And so welcome to the show. And there I go coughing already. So as usual, this is unedited. I'm not going to edit out the coughs and sneezes, and I may blow snot on the screen. I had a cold a couple weeks ago. The weather changes. My sinuses are screwed up for weeks, and I always have a lingering cough, and even when I'm better. And so, Mark, I hope you'll excuse me. I've got some good coffee.
Absolutely.
To make that better.
I got my double shot of espresso, so I'm good to go, man.
Perfect. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. More important than introducing you is we should introduce the coffee that we're drinking. So Absolutely. I've got a single origin Guatemalan coffee from Don Pablo with some mushroom chaga coffee mixed in. I do half and half.
I haven't tried that chava stuff yet.
Oh, it's good. It's good.
I need to try that.
It doesn't change the flavor, but you get all the adaptogens, and so it's like an energy drink in the coffee.
Yeah, I'm gonna nod like I know what adaptogens are. I have no idea. So sounds amazing though. If they taste half as good as they sound. I'm just drinking a double shot of Lavazza espresso from our church's coffee bar. We have a commercial grade espresso machine. So the perks of having my office with a coffee bar.
Oh man, and Lavazza makes some good stuff.
Yeah, they do. When it comes to coffee or espresso, they're some of the best I've found that you can get off the shelf. Anyway, we haven't really settled on I don't know all that single origin, labor-free, fair trade. Like I don't know. I can't keep track of all that. I just know, can I get it on Amazon and Walmart? And then
oh man, I started talking to our mutual friend Aaron Hunt about coffee last week, and I thought I knew coffee and I thought I knew Aaron, and all of a sudden I mentioned single origin, and he's like, "Oh yeah," and he's telling me about. I told him Guatemalan, and he's telling me the tasting notes. I mean, it's like talking to a wine person, except it's all coffee, and he went way over my head. It was really good, but that man knows more coffee than both of us combined.
Oh, and I have this issue. Like I'll call it expressive aphasia. Like the moment somebody asks me a question in person, I can't remember a single thing. Like all of the technical words go out, and I'm just like, I don't know. I have a handyman business, and I'll try to talk to a customer, and I want to sound really smart, and I end up just sounding like the Red Green Show because I can't get, it's like I think duct tape will take care of it. It's that thing over there next to the other thing. I'm like, Mark, you're an idiot. So anyway,
you remember that bit from Seinfeld when George thought of the perfect joke?
Yeah.
And so for people that are younger than us and don't know Seinfeld, this dude had the perfect comeback and couldn't think of it, and then came back like days later, just popped into a board meeting and threw the comeback at the guy, and it's like nobody knew what he was talking about.
Yep. Middle of the night while I'm taking a shower, that's when I remember the words I was trying to say.
Yep.
So that's what I think you were doing when you said antigens or antidaptability, whatever those things were. I tell people use words like that. I'm like, you don't have to make up words just so I like you. That's all right.
They just make them up. They're not even real.
They're not even real words.
We've already dug into this and talked about. You mentioned church and handyman, so I guess we should introduce you.
Okay.
And let's go ahead and tell us a little bit about you. But let's hit the church stuff first because that's kind of like, I guess, your main occupation.
Yeah, for now. Yeah, that's right. So I've been a full-time senior pastor since for almost my entire adult life. I worked 2 years as an associate pastor right out of Bible college. I went to Bible college right out of high school. My dad was a senior pastor when I was growing up. And then at 25 years of age, a desperate church hired me to be their senior pastor.
You said desperate. Is that why
they had to have been, right? Like, who in their right mind would hire a 25-year-old to be their senior pastor? They were, so I'm always going to be grateful for the opportunity. I wasn't looking for it, but they needed it, and it was the right timing for us. And so that's what I've done. I'm 44 now, so I'll be 45 in May, which is both a great age and an awesome caliber. So I'm looking forward to 45 being a great year. Not the ACP, but the long colt. That's the round that won West. So
the real one.
That'll be me. But so I've done that for over 20 years now. And I don't know how much longer I'll do it. I feel like after a career's length in this arena, I don't feel like pastoring is my life calling. I feel like the work I do as a pastor is a life calling, but I don't have to express that. So we're looking for an exit strategy in the next few years. But for now, that's my main job. And then I have a handyman business that supplements our income on the side. My wife is a full-time nurse, and she's also in real estate. So our story has grown and changed and shifted from where we started out at 25 years of age. So so those are the main things that I do living up here in Maine.
That's pretty cool. And so a pastor's kid, your dad was a pastor, and then you were. So according to our friend John Sanders, the stereotype is you've grown up poor and still poor, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I only bring that up because we are good friends with him. And
Yep.
So supplementing and bivocational and all that is kind of what you have to do, I guess.
Absolutely. I mean, we did grow up poor, and I didn't realize how poor we were. Growing up, my parents did a good job of hiding that from us. I had a great upbringing. We lived in the country up in the middle of Maine, and in a little town called Skowhegan. I loved it. I still love it. I have, those are my favorite memories of growing up, but I didn't realize how deeply entrenched poverty was in our. I mean, I told my kids the other day, my parents were so good at this that they turned Spam into something that only you got to eat on special occasions. Like, we thought my mom would bake it in the oven, and then she would make a brown sugar glaze, and they'd slice it up. And like, this meat's so tender, you can cut it with a fork. And we thought, this was like, this is awesome, So yeah, we were real poor, and poverty was part of our story, even leading out. I don't think I made over $30,000 a year until after I was 30 or 35 years of age.
Yeah.
I mean, we were poor, and my kids suffered with that. So John's been a big part of helping to change that story.
Yeah. Good. And I hope to get him on here at some point. The poor, it's all in the wording you use, because I would call us lower middle class ever since we got married. I've been married like 26 years. And we lower middle class means we weren't poor, but we didn't have a lot of money.
Right.
And but I'm realizing now with my kids, the words I've chosen to use, mainly because of Dave Ramsey, we've done his thing and I love it, but we've always talked poor. And my kids, like the other day, my son, my 13-year-old, was telling his girlfriend, I don't have money for new shoes. And what he really meant was the shoe budget has been emptied because I bought too expensive shoes. But it came across as, wow, this family doesn't have money for shoes.
Yep.
And it's the wording you use. It's amazing, though, that your parents, I mean, you just lived life. It wasn't necessarily poor, rich, or anything else. You lived and you enjoyed Spam as a luxury item.
Absolutely. And, one of the best parts about it was my parents said, we'll buy you clothes from Goodwill and Salvation Army. If you want better clothes, you're going to have to buy them yourself. They never said because we're poor. They said, this is what we'll provide for you. And if you want more, go provide it for yourself. And so we had paper routes from the time we were 7 years old, getting up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning and going to deliver papers before school. My parents got us up and took us on those routes. So they were hardworking. And so we learned to work, bought my own bicycles, bought my own air guns, the things that I wanted. I learned to go and work for them. So yeah, I mean, so that there are a lot of lessons I think that kids coming up in poverty can learn that kids that get everything handed to them don't.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And we tried to do that here on the farm. I mean, we're trying to change our terminology for one, but just providing ways for the kids to make money. I mean, no
Yeah.
allowance at all, period. It's
Yeah.
we got a bunch of pecan trees and we don't crush them because none of us like pecans.
Yeah.
But I pay the kids 5 cents a pecan and they'll go out and get buckets of them and we use them for gravel in the driveway.
Yeah.
And but it's if you want something, go out and pick up pecans, or something.
Yep. Absolutely. I think it's super valuable.
Yeah.
And it's just super valuable. And we did give our kids, two of my kids are grown now. Well, my daughter's a junior in high school and I have another daughter who's 12. She's special needs. But we did years ago give our kids an allowance to teach them how to manage their money. But the allowance was, here's how much we reckon it costs us to take care of you every month. And so we're giving you this money. Here are the guidelines. Here's how you need to set this up and manage this. So we're only giving it to you because we'd be paying this anyway. To teach them how to manage their money. And then they had to report to us. And so that's helped out a lot. But it wasn't just free money. It was, you're going to use this money to do what we would use it to do anyway, but you're going to learn how to manage it. So that's worked out pretty well for us up to this point.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I've seen you post about your daughter. She seems like she's got her head screwed on right.
Yes. Yeah. Both of my daughters do. The special needs one challenges us in ways that, we never thought. She's adopted. We did an international adoption. And so talk about money, man. Like, geez, some crow. It cost us more to adopt her than I made in a year.
Man, and see, that's something needs to change.
Yeah. And then they make you sign a piece of paper that says you won't engage in child buying. And I was like, but it sure feels like it, since most of the checks I'm writing are going to the government. It feels like I'm buying a child. So it was like $32,000 to adopt a child internationally. And most of that is just government paperwork. It's just, there's no reason for the fee. They just can. So
that's a shame. I mean, I've seen some people try to, I guess, work towards changing that, or nonprofits that help provide money, but that's a broken system.
It really is. Yeah. Definitely.
Now, where was she born?
Poland.
Okay, that's interesting.
Poland. Yep. So we spent 7 weeks in Poland. The country of Poland requires you to stay longer than any other country does when you adopt a child. They make you stay for 7 weeks. But that was a great experience. That was the first vacation sabbatical that I'd ever had from ministry in all of those years. And it just all compiled and we got to take it all at once, So we stayed in a little village outside of Warsaw, and that was a great experience.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. All right. So having known you for a while, you're kind of chill. So I'm guessing Lutheran, Methodist. What's your denomination?
Believe it or not, Independent Fundamental Baptist was my upbringing.
No way. Yeah. Because I grew up Independent Fundamental Baptist.
I know it. I try not to talk about it. The only reason I brought it up is because I know you understand.
Man, because I grew up King James, premillennial, pre-tribulation. I mean, all the pre's. And,
now I'm not that anymore, but that's how I was brought up. So and that that was the first church I pastored was that way.
Wow,
definitely.
I'll tell people I've chilled out so much because now I go to a mega church that's like Rock Band and all that. And the way I grew up,
it's the medication.
They would have said that my pastor and everybody there was going straight to hell because of the music and everything else.
You're not wrong, dude. Man, I mean, I was brought up. I mean, not only were we the only ones right, we're probably the only ones saved. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
And there would be a few other churches that were like sister churches, and they were okay too.
They were okay.
But,
like faith and practice, man. Like faith and practice.
Oh, man. All right, so let's throw some names out there. You ever heard of a guy named Sam Gipp?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. Man, so we probably actually know a bunch of the same evangelists and stuff.
I bet we do. Yep.
That's pretty cool. See, that's why I love doing these interviews, because I find out stuff that I can't ask in the other group because it's business and all that.
I avoid evangelists like the plague, man. I think in 20 years of pastoral ministry, I've had one evangelist in my church, and that was 100% too many. So I don't care for evangelists. Sorry, you might want to edit that out.
Yeah. Yep. So we've talked about I mean, you do the handyman thing. Does your church have a problem with you working bivocational at all?
No, they're really great. I mean, my church is they do the best they can within the constraints of the finances to take care of us, and they are so generous. And I have no complaints with that. And so when I said I need to go out and start this business, partly to make additional money for my family, and partly because it's good for my headspace. Like I need to get out of the office. I'm creative. I love to work with my hands, and they were just like, Pastor, do it, go. I mean, we support that. And so they have been very supportive. They cheer me on. So yeah, I have no complaints, and the church loves it. The church loves that I'm doing it.
That's cool. Because I've run across some churches and pastors where they forbid it. I mean, they don't pay them much. Right. But I mean, a small church that understands they can't pay you a fortune and doesn't mind. I mean, that's like best case scenario.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, I have a buddy who was going to go and work for a church in their Christian school, and they were going to get paid like $21,000 a year. And this was only like 5 years ago. Yeah. And he said, that's okay, because I'll just go work part-time somewhere else. And they're like, oh, no, we don't allow our staff to work outside. How the heck do you think these people are going to live? Like, I don't understand that. So,
And by the way, your wife can't work outside the home.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. So no, my church, I mean, I'm looking to stop pastoring at some point in the future, but it's not because this church is wearing me out. Like these are some really good people. I love the group of folks that I get to pastor.
That's pretty amazing. And not many churches have the nice coffee bar either.
That's exactly right. Now I'll take credit for that. That was my dream. I'm like, churches have the suckiest coffee anywhere. I mean, every church has a basement with an old Maxwell House coffee can in the bottom, and the little old ladies make it in the styrofoam cup, and it tastes like metal, and I absolutely hate it. And God's people deserve better than that.
Yeah. So I talked to our operations pastor. They were buying at Sam's Club the big Maxwell House tub.
No. Oh.
And I've got them now. They're buying from a local roaster, small batch stuff.
Yes.
And man, it tastes so good.
Yes, man. Coffee is not something that you should buy in bulk, right? Because it doesn't have the shelf life. And if you want good coffee, it's got to be smaller batch. You got to be able to go through it within a short period of time. And that's something that churches and their budgets just don't understand it. So, man,
there are ways to keep the people happy. I mean, nice cushions on the seats and good coffee, and they'll pay attention better.
Yeah, it doesn't take much, right? People don't ask a lot. Just make the coffee good and make us comfortable. And hey, you could even sing hymns every song and people would still stay around. If you had good coffee and comfortable chairs.
Yep. Yeah. Oh man! And so you're in Maine, just south of that big frozen ice wall that we saw in Game of Thrones.
Absolutely. So, I can throw a stone and hit it from here. So.
Now, how close are you to the New Hampshire border?
Lebanon, Maine is right on the New Hampshire border. So we do most of our grocery shopping in Rochester.
Concord. All right, not Concord, but where was I? We went north of Concord, up near the White Mountains, and me and my son actually drove. I was speaking at an event. And me and my son drove over to a gas station on the border, and we're getting pictures straddling the state line.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't know you then, though, man. I got to get up there again sometime.
Absolutely. Yeah, my wife does all the grocery shopping in New Hampshire to avoid the sales tax. So it's grocery stores closer. Our town's really rural. We have one stoplight and a Dollar General, and that's really all we have. And so we have to travel to grocery stores. It might as well go to New Hampshire because pay less money.
Yeah. I love small towns because, I mean, we're big enough we have a grocery store. But, I mean, the only time there's a traffic jam is when the varsity football games get out or there's a train going through.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I like man. All right. So do you do anything else for streams of income?
Not like consistently. I'm working on it. I'm working on in the information space. I've dabbled a little bit in coaching. I'm still kind of all over the place about how I want to do that or if I want to try to lean into that full time. Sometimes I think that just is attractive because I can't get out of my pastor mindset. But I do a lot of it. And I'm also working on trying to build a community, a support, long-term support community around the idea and the concept of hope, because that's something that I'm really, really passionate about, and I talk about a lot. And so I'm slowly working to build that. I actually have a small membership right now. I have, I think there's 10 people in it, and 4 of them even pay me. So that's all right.
Yeah. I was wanting to segue into that because I mean, you talk about hope a lot, and
A lot.
if there's people out there that aren't following you yet, they need to. Whoever's listening to this,
Thank you.
But it's encouraging because us having similar upbringings, you can understand where a lot of my like anger issues or whatever come from, just because that's raised with all the angry parts of the Bible.
Yes.
And a few years ago, I discovered Bob Goff and Love Does, and I read all of his other books, and it was so different from the way a totally different Christianity than what I was raised with.
Absolutely.
So, what is the message and all of hope that I mean, how's that work?
Okay, so in my opinion, hope is probably the most important part of maintaining a life free of apathy, even anger, because I talk a lot about anger too, because I think that rests on the other side of a hope level on hope. Now, when I talk about hope, I'm not talking about irrational optimism or Pollyanna or rose-colored glasses, like most Christians talk about hope. Like, even I love that song, "All My Hope Is in Jesus," but even that one, I'm just like, but there's more than that, because sometimes I feel like that's just escapism, right? Like, life sucks today, but maybe someday things are going to get a lot better someday. And you can't get away from the difficulties of life now. But when I read years ago, Man's Search for Meaning, I listened to a man who wasn't a believer in Jesus Christ and who didn't have the same view of the afterlife that I did, talk about hope in a way that was practical and part of everyday living. I was like, there is something there. And so the message around hope is that hope is tied directly to our perception of our ability to set and reach goals or change our future in some meaningful way. That our choices are powerful because the future isn't settled. Theologically, I would be classified as someone in a dynamic omniscience view, a little bit less, a little bit more conservative than a pure open theism view, but it's within that ballpark. So the future isn't settled or written. It's not completely open, but there are many ways that I can affect the future by my actions today. And that gives me hope, because no matter how difficult my situation and circumstance is, I can make choices today that can directly impact my future, and that I have just as much reason to believe that the future will be better as I do to believe that it will be horrible. And my mindset will have a lot to do with that. So when someone tells me there's nothing I can do, that's a low hope language. There's nothing I can do. If you take someone's choices and options away, you effectively reduce their hope, and you rob them of their agency. So my goal is to create a community and a message that helps people regain their sense of agency, because when they do that, their hope levels will rise, because there is something I can do. I can't do everything, and I can't do anything I want, but there's a lot that I can do to change my situation today, or to make decisions today that will change my future tomorrow. So I just got done reading a book called The Sun Does Shine by Anthony Ray Hinton. The subtitle is How I Found Hope and Hope and Healing on Death Row. It's an amazing story.
Because it's a hopeless environment for the most part.
Well, even worse, he spent 30 years falsely accused or falsely condemned on death row. And then in 2015, he was released after 30 years on death row, convicted of a crime he didn't commit. And there was injustice and the abuse and the indignity of death row, and how he talks about finding hope and the power to make choices even in a 5x7 cell. I have a choice that I can make to impact my life and the world around me. It's a powerful story. But again, you see this over and over and over again in people from really difficult situations. So that's the message of hope. It's not one of irrational optimism like Annie, the sun will come out tomorrow. I mean, maybe it won't. It might be cloudy for a month, right?
Yeah.
The point is, what if the sun doesn't come out tomorrow? That doesn't mean you can't make choices that will directly impact your life. And so that's powerful for me, because in our story, growing up poor and with the poverty mindset, I would use a lot of that language. Well, it's the choice I made. If I'd done something different, I wouldn't be where I am today. But hope isn't tied to your past. Hope is tied to your future and your present actions. So I'm not where I am today because I won't. My future isn't determined by what happened yesterday. My future is being written by what I do today. Yeah. And so that's hope. Like, I can, no matter what happened back then, I can do something today to change tomorrow. So in a nutshell, big nutshell, but in a nutshell, that's it.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool. And so what do you do inside the community?
Inside the community, I post almost every day, questions, encourage the different members of the community to post, also to encourage each other, to share. If they're having a struggle, go ahead and share that if you feel comfortable with that, so that you can receive some help and support from the community. We have a motto that brokenness isn't an identity. So we may struggle with areas, but that's not who we are. So go ahead and share that. But we're here to lift you. And then I'm constantly working on creating guides, which you can do within Facebook groups, that take all of your videos and put them underneath categories. Yeah. So when people are looking for them, rather than having to go to my Facebook page and scroll down and down and down and down, if they're in this group, all of those videos are classified under guides. So like, I have one that's a 5-part video series on the acronym Unstuck, how to get unstuck, and working through that acronym. I'm doing one right now on the difference between resilience and adaptability, and building the skill of adaptability. So that's going to be a 5 or 6 video series. And I have a guide that's just inspirational, just like some thoughts that I have and I want to share with you guys today. So there's a growing library of content. The engagement is pretty small. I mean, you're in a lot of groups. There's only 10 in this group. The level of engagement, even at that, is 4 or 5 of the people in the group engage on a regular basis. So, I mean, that's just the nature of it, right? So, ironically, the ones who engage are also the ones who pay. So there's something to be said. I'm learning a lesson from that. So that's it. I don't do any live events. We don't do any live calls at some point. And it's real low. It's only $10 to be in the group. Yeah. So $10 a month. So at some point, we'll go to a different level where we start doing maybe Zoom calls and things. And that'll be for, a higher level. But yeah, that sums it up, I think.
Yeah, no, I got to be honest. If you're doing like what a lot of people, you give away so much awesome free content just in your Facebook posts. Mm-hmm. So if you're going beyond what you're already giving away free, I mean, there's got to be some tremendous value in that, because just your free stuff is pretty amazing. I mean,
I'd like to think so.
I love seeing your long form Facebook posts. Yeah, it's almost like a miniature blog.
Yeah, good. My wife doesn't read them, so she's like, I don't read long form stuff. I'm like, babe, why are we even married?
Man, my wife is the same way. She has no idea what I do. The only time she knows what I post is if her family calls her to fuss at her about it, and then I get fussed at.
Yeah, well, yeah. Thankfully, her family, if there's something they don't like, they just ignore it. So that's nice. That's nice.
Yeah. See, if you're like the Hope Christian, I think I'm more like a feral Christian. Just let me out of the cave every now and then, and I'll post something that makes people mad. Then I go back. Yeah.
Well, I try hard. It's hard for me not to get drawn into, because there's a lot in my life I could be angry about, and I'm not saying you're angry, but I'm saying there's a lot I could be angry about. I'm also drawn to helping hurting people. The downside to that is it's easy to get drawn into the darkness. And then you start carrying that heavy weight, then all of your topics and all of your posts are just heavy, heavy stuff. And so I try to keep a good amount of humor on my Facebook page as well, just so that I can balance out the heavy stuff, because everybody's talking about heavy stuff. I mean, look, it's Thanksgiving, and here we are again. Dang it, we are going to have to see a nonstop litany of posts with people telling us not to enjoy Thanksgiving because this is a hard holiday for somebody. It's like, come on. Like, I know people are struggling. Like, I know it. It's a bad holiday for somebody, but I'm going to have a good holiday because I don't know what next Thanksgiving is going to be like. So it's just like heavy, heavy, heavy. So I try to balance it out with some humor. I've been doing this ongoing thing with the cranberry sauce shaped like a can. I got another post that's going out today about that, just to try to keep it light. And then I can come around and do a long form post and something heavy. And it's not like, Mark's always just like heavy or down or whatever. Yeah. So, yeah.
No, it's good. You got some good balance. I mean, you even had a song about coffee the other day. I mean, it's good stuff.
Yeah. I do that to irritate my wife.
All right. So before I forget, where can people find you? What's the best place you want people to get in touch with you?
They could find me on my Facebook page. You can look, if you see this face here, you can look for me on Facebook, Mark Foster. I think my channel, my profile is either Mark Foster 80 or and then I have a Facebook page, facebook.com/strengthened by hope. So that's actually a Facebook page. I don't post as much on that. You won't find my group. It's a private group. It's by invitation only. But definitely you could connect with me on Facebook. I have a website, strengthenedbyhope.com, that I'm working on building out. So there's a little bit of stuff there, a few articles and things, but I'm just getting started working on that. So that's where they can find me. Or they can also send me an email at the same thing, mark@strengthenedbyhope.com.
Yeah. All right, cool. And all right, so a couple more questions. Let's address the Hope Grifter thing.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that title? Because I really liked that when somebody said that. I mean, whether it was meant as an insult or not, I thought it sounded cool.
Well, I think it was meant to, it was definitely meant as an insult. And they're accusing me of taking advantage of all the pain in the world. Because, you're not supposed to actually help people. You're just supposed to validate their suffering. Right? Yeah. It's like, dude, man, you're bleeding all over the floor. That must suck. Well, I can sympathize with your pain, but I'm not going to put a Band-Aid on it because that's not my role. So, so when I was posting, this guy's like, you're nothing but a hope grifter. And I got to be honest, I was like demoralized by it. And I was like, what the heck? And then when you said, I think I'll put that on a t-shirt. It's like, that should be my attitude, actually. Like, take this thing and run with it. So yeah, I wish I had that personality right out of the gate to be like, you slap me like this and I'll just turn that into a platform, Yeah. So I haven't put it on a t-shirt yet, but I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I listen to a lot of Gary Vee, not around the kids, obviously, but him and David Goggins, you can't listen to around the kids. Right. But, and he's always talked about people that comment negatively on, it's like, he never looked at it as a bad thing. It's more like they're hurting. If they're hurting so bad, they took the time to craft a negative response to something I did. I need to talk to them. We need to have a conversation and see if I can help them.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And, I did reach out to that person. I'm like, hey, let's have a conversation. And then they ghosted me. And because that's what people do, right? They'll fly in, they'll say stuff like that. But I think everybody's suspicious. I think a lot of people are suspicious of anybody who's offering help. And I think this isn't something I talk about a lot on Facebook because, again, you get in so much trouble for it. But I think it's because we live in a victim society where there's virtue in victimhood. Yeah. And, if I'm broken, I'm special. So don't fix me because I want to feel special. Because normal people aren't special. Right. Yeah. So everybody wants to be special. And so they got to find what makes them broken. So don't tell people there's a way out of that because now they won't be special anymore. So I think people are suspicious of it because of the environment we live in. But we got to keep pushing back against it.
Oh, yeah. Pushing back with goodness.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Put that on the t-shirt too.
To quote the King James, be not overcome of evil, but overcome evil with good. I think that has to be our message.
Hey, I'll tell you a random question. Did you go to seminary?
I did go to 4 years of seminary.
Where at?
I went, it is now called, well, I won't tell you what it's now called. It used to be called Texas Baptist College, not the one, there's two Texas Baptist colleges, but this is the small one in Longview. Okay. that was underneath the Texas Bob Gray, not the Florida Bob Gray.
Oh, okay. All right.
So,
Because I live, I don't know, maybe 20 miles from Bob Jones University.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was a
And
real
half those
small.
kids-
It was real small Bible college. I mean, I don't even think they called it a seminary. It was just a Bible college, and yeah. So I did.
Yeah, I went to one like that, but I did it distance. Southern Indiana Baptist Bible College.
Yeah.
Did it all distance though. I was already married and everything, so did the whole correspondence thing for seminary,
Yeah.
which was rough with kids.
Yeah. A few years ago, I thought about going back to college to get an accredited degree. Because at the time I was thinking about pursuing maybe some licensing in the mental health world. I'm glad now I didn't do that, but I thought about it, and I knew I would need an accredited degree. I looked up Liberty University. They have a great program, but I couldn't afford it. And when I called them, I was like, do you offer any discounts? And they're like, oh, you a first responder? No. Law enforcement? No. Have you ever served in the military? I have not. And they're like, well, that's all the discounts we have. I said, but I am a full-time pastor. Like, we don't offer discounts to full-time pastors. It's like, that's a good position for a Bible college to have.
Yeah. You're just a pastor.
You're just a pastor. So no. So I was like, well, I guess that door's closed, and I could still go back and do it if I wanted to.
Yeah.
But I think I'm good with where I'm at right now. I think I'm over the idea that you have to have an accredited degree to do anything important in life. Because I know too many people with accredited degrees that don't do jack squat. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, my doctorate's in counseling, but the way South Carolina law is if you're a pastor, you don't have to be licensed.
Yeah.
But just to avoid all that, I just do coaching because temperate wise, I'm a much better coach than a counselor. Just the way I work. Yeah. The whole sitting on the couch, talk to me thing.
Yeah.
I don't do that well.
Yeah. Well, counseling is like, it's too much looking backwards. That's what it is. And people view it like therapists. And I mean, I had someone reach out to me the other day and say, someone recommended that I talk to you. And I said, well, how can I help? And they're like, more than anything else, I think I just need someone to listen to me. And I was like, well, I'm happy to listen to you for a few minutes, but that's not what I do. So I'm solutions based. And if that doesn't work for you, then I wouldn't be I'm not just a therapist. I'm not licensed to be, nor do I want to be a therapist. So yeah, I think I like that coaching a whole lot better because it's solutions based. Like that, the past is the past. It happened. You can't change it. No amount of talking about it's going to change it. What are you going to do from here moving forward?
Yeah,
that's what matters.
I pastored a little church in an office one time, and our whole motto was based on, was it James 4, putting feet to your faith?
Yeah.
And it was basically, if you're not going to do anything, I don't want you to come to this church to sit here and sing and then leave. If you're not going to do anything, just go find one of those churches. Go worship with the Presbyterians or something.
It's plenty of them out there. Without a doubt.
All right. So very final question.
Well, I got one for you, but go ahead and shoot. And then I'm gonna turn around and ask you about something. So
okay. So the very last question I always ask is, if money, man, this cough is irritating. If money wasn't an issue, so you didn't have to worry about how much you made, and you could do one stream of income for the rest of your life, like pick a hobby you enjoy, something you love for work, something like that, and you think you could do it forever, what would you do?
I would do public speaking.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything I love more than being in front of a live group of people and connecting with an audience. I love it. It is absolutely my favorite thing to do. It's probably the reason I've pastored as long as I have, because it gives me a platform every week to talk to real people.
Oh yeah.
I love it. I absolutely love it. So I would travel and do that in churches, in schools, anywhere, just to take that message on the road. I would. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, and if money wasn't an issue, you could speak anywhere and not
absolutely. Yep, absolutely. Yep. People are like, well, we can't afford to bring you in. It's like, yeah, you can, because like I don't charge anything. Like I love doing this. Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool. All right, so you had a question?
I want to know about this user-generated content that you do, because my wife and I were talking about that. I would love to know. My question specifically is, how did that even come about? Like, when was the first day when you were like, I think I could make some money doing this?
or if you see me moving around, I just realized my computer's about to die.
Yeah, no worries.
So the weirdest thing is the very first time I did that, I came across this website called Fiverr.
Okay.
And basically you pay somebody $5 to do something small. And move this Christmas tree out of the way. All right. So sorry about the interruption there.
No worries.
So I had a huge shower in the house we were living in at the time. And I mean, you could fit 10 people in there. I have a party if you wanted to. Not that I did that because that would be wrong. But
right. Yeah.
I thought to myself, you know what? I'll do from the waist up shower videos. And because I got an ugly beard, a bald head, and when I soap it up, I can do all crazy stuff with it. And I'll just sing happy birthday to people, stuff like that. And so people started paying me $5 a gig to sing happy birthday to their moms, that funny stuff. And then people were like, hey, I don't need a shower video. Would you mind holding my product and saying it's cool or it tastes good?
Yeah.
So it just built from there.
Nice. That's super cool. Yep. So that would have been an interesting conversation. Like, what do you do for a living? I do shower videos. I take videos in the shower.
Yep. I get naked in the shower, but waist up only.
Yeah. So how close are you to that being your primary income, or is that even a goal? Like, this is what I want to do to make my primary.
It's weird because it's not something I want to do full time, but the money is so good and it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
That I'm looking to expand it because, like, I look to the left of me in my office and I've got a stack of mattresses. There's this mattress company that's been sending me. Our whole house has got new mattresses. Plus, I got paid to sit on the mattresses and tell everybody how cushiony they are. And so I get some amazing products, supplements, energy drinks, golf clubs, and I get paid good. And what I'm thinking about doing is expanding, though, to a more professional market like attorneys.
Yeah.
Because that's getting pretty big where they're advertising class action lawsuits, things like that.
Yep.
And make a lot more money.
Yeah.
A lot more money that way.
Oh, that's really cool. Maybe I should get into that and reach out to Jeep Chrysler and if you send me a Wrangler, I'll stand in front of it and tell everybody how cool it is.
Yeah. The single biggest one I've gotten, I've not gotten a car one yet. I was invited to pitch Land Rover. Okay. They weren't giving free cars, but it paid amazing. But the biggest one I've gotten where I got product and really paid well was Mossy Oak. They were doing a new fishing line. Yeah. And so they paid me a ton of money to go out to the lake near the house and just act like I'm fishing wearing their clothing.
I imagine there must be a tax component to, if you got those really large objects, like if you were to get a car, if they gave you like there'd be a tax hit on that, I would imagine. But still,
you basically claim the value of it as if it was income.
Yeah.
But the great thing about doing this is my whole lifestyle business, so to speak. Pretty much everything's deductible. Because one thing I do, I personally own my truck, and so when my business, the UGC videos, when I'm forced to go film a video in my truck, and there's a surprising number of those, I basically rent my truck to my business as a film studio or a film set.
I don't understand. Don't you want to pay taxes? Like, don't you want to pay your fair share? Why are you trying to get out of taxes? We have a national debt we need to pay down. Like, what are you doing?
And the way I look at it, I would never illegally falsify things, but if they made the rules and I can use the rules.
Right. That's exactly right.
It's like their rules. I'm playing by their rules.
Absolutely. As I love the language, you're using a loophole. It's not a loophole. It's a rule that's built into the code. Like, just because you're too stupid to know it or use it.
And if it was written there, it was written usually for a rich person or a congressman. Yeah. And so if they made the rules, I mean,
that's right.
Why not?
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, and that's been a huge shift in my mind, to bring it full circle back to the beginning of it. Because when we were making less than $30,000 a year, many years less than $20,000 a year, we got that huge refund of money that we hadn't paid in. I wasn't even thinking about tax breaks or write-offs or anything like that. And so it's been cool to get into a whole different arena. It feels more hopeful because I have a certain amount of, well, we just had an issue where an opportunity came up to travel to Texas for my brother's wedding. And 10 years ago, it would have been a stressor to be like, how are we going to afford to do this? And now, not only do I have the money to do it, but I can go generate more income between now and then to cover it.
Yeah.
Like that's a huge boost to your hope levels to know, like, I'm not stuck. Like, all I got to do is I got a path to go out and do this.
Yeah. Now, as far as UGC goes, like the niche I've got is, the bald bearded middle-aged guy. I do a lot of ED medications, that kind of thing. No, I don't do them. I do a lot of commercials for them. Man, I mean, they send me, to be honest with you, I don't like medications, so I'm afraid to even try them. Yeah. But I've got boxes of samples that they send me to show in the videos. Become a drug dealer for ED meds. But you could easily do the middle-age construction guy. Because I get a lot of construction videos, and they'll want me to go outside and set up a ladder like I'm working, that kind of thing. Yeah. And so, I mean, you've got maybe you could tax deduct some tools and stuff for the set.
Yeah. Well, now, I mean, I'm gonna have to hire a UGC coach, like maybe some bald middle-aged guy to walk me through how to do that, because that sounds like a lot of fun. So you do have.
I'll tell you what I'll do though.
You do. I did a
seminar.
Right?
Early in the year, I did a seminar. I'll send you the link to that. Now, if anybody else is listening, you can buy it from me, but I'll send Mark a link because we're cool like that.
There you go. I like it. Awesome. I'd be definitely really interested in that, because especially the handyman space, especially up here in New England, what I'm finding out is there's a slow season, and we're getting into it in the middle of the winter, and people start pulling their horns in and moving indoors, and until they start breaking things, I'm not going to get a whole lot of phone calls. So that's what I'm trying to smooth out now, is not having as many downtimes on income generation, but I can move from this to that. And cool.
I mean, on average, I'm about $100 a minute when I'm doing film. And so that's not bad. So like yesterday, I did about 3 hours worth of filming. Mondays are always a heavy filming day for me. And so I made about $2,000 yesterday.
See, that's great. When I was growing up in my daddy's church, there was a farmer, a dairy farmer, and I remember him telling my daddy at the kitchen table, he said, I figure I make $5 an hour, whether I'm working, sleeping, or sitting on the couch. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, like that. I mean, as a kid, I thought that sounds like a great deal. Now I'm looking back on it, so I'm not going to get out of bed at 3:30 in the morning for $5 an hour.
Yeah, nope. Yep. And hey, I'll throw another idea at you too, like the trip to Texas. We went on vacation to Kentucky, went to the Creation Museum and all that. Yeah. And so I got with all my clients and I said, hey, we've got this Airbnb lake house. Yeah. And so I'm going to be at the lake for a week. What do you need video wise? And so, I mean, for other reasons, the whole vacation was tax deductible already, but I just added another, I work a few hours on vacation and pay for the whole house.
That's super cool. Yeah. No, I need to work on my mindset and getting that lens on everything I'm doing, because I'm still paying for too many things. So I am.
And you got a young girl that's going to be getting married at some point.
Oh, dude,
you got to save up for that.
Oh, I want my boys to get married, tomorrow, but I don't ever want my daughter to get married. But I know she's going to, and I know she's going to. So,
yeah.
Man, I've enjoyed this conversation. Thank you for.
Yeah, we need to talk again sometime, maybe off the air, so we can talk, eschatology and all that fun stuff.
Absolutely, dude.
I've really changed my viewpoints on that lately.
Me too. Oh yeah, my wife. Like I said, my wife has said to me, "Do you still believe anything you used to believe?" I said, "Well, it's a small list."
Yeah. Yep. Because a little trivia tidbit: the Left Behind books were actually written. The guy was a pastor at a church here locally when he started writing those. And of course, growing up the way we did, that defined our theology for a long time.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think the Left Behind books were titled that way so people could know what to do when they moved. Just leave those right there and move away.
Yep. All right, man. Well, thanks for being with me. I'm going to go ahead and get off here before my voice is completely gone because I'm out of coffee.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you, David. I appreciate it.
So guess what? I turned 50. It's already happened. And depending on when you watch this, I don't know how long ago it happened. I've noticed a few new extra gray hairs already. But, here's the thing. I want to make this year my half-century year. I want to make it amazing, absolutely amazing. And I want your help with that. I put out a call before my birthday in early January that I wanted folks to send me the most amazing books that they have read. I'm a bibliophile, a book nut. Matter of fact, that's the small bookshelf behind me. I guess some people might call me a book hoarder. I don't like the term because I read them. I take notes in them. I mark them up. I draw pictures and doodles and write books based on the books I read. And so here's what I need from you. I want you to send me for my 50th birthday year, my half century of life year. Send me the most amazing book that you've read lately, one that changed your life, maybe when you read it before. And so if you're going to do that, just get in touch with me. I don't want to just blast my address everywhere out there, but just get in touch. I'll give you my address, everything, so you can send me that amazing book. And I also want to hear your stories. I want to hear why this book is so amazing. I've already had a lot of folks sending me books, and matter of fact, I've almost finished several of them. I'll read several books at one time, just depending on my mood, time of day, things like that. And so if you will, help me out with that. Get in touch. I'll tell you where to send it, but I want to hear from you about the books in your life that truly changed your life.